All right, I'm back for Dust.CS's ongoing coverage of the PGL Major Copenhagen America's RMR, and I'm here with Joshua Micks of NRG, the super analyst for the squad, coming off of a very difficult opening loss against Imperial. So to start, from your perspective behind the squad, what went wrong on the server there?
I mean, it was kind of rough. The second round, we had a 5v3, and we kind of just lost it. We didn't get a kill after that. And then the next like 6 or 7 rounds, I felt like they were just steamrolling us, and it was kind of hard to get any momentum going after that. It's also a bit tough because this is our first time like being together all in person. So that was our first time like playing like a LAN match together like that. We had like a couple scrims yesterday, but that was about it. But yeah, it was hard to get like any momentum going back into the match after we lost that second round.
And NRG was sort of a last-minute invite to the event after Rocket pulled out following EMIYA's cheating ban. How much time did you guys actually have once you got the news to prep for this event?
We had like qualifiers pretty much the entire time after we learned about it. So pretty much the week, we had like 10 days straight worth of playing before we came here. It was pretty much all like open qualifiers, some closed qualifiers. So it was a bit rough to get like good practice against like good teams. Um, Not really an excuse so much as just this, but it was definitely hard to like kind of prepare like we would have if we had like straight qualified for the event, where we probably would have gone to Europe, had like a nice boot camp and everything. But we didn't have the opportunity. But I wouldn't say it was like why we lost or anything. But yeah.
Now, you were obviously behind the team during this match, but technically on paper, you're the analyst for the squad, and NRG still don't have an official coach. So, how would you just sort of describe your role with that team? And is it intentional there isn't someone who wears the coach hat in NRG?
Yeah, somewhat intentional. I would say I am more like the analyst, and then I kind of just fill in like behind the scrims and behind the matches and things like that. I wouldn't say I'm so much of like a coach in the team. Um, but yeah, I don't know if I'd say it was like intentional. It was kind of, they weren't even sure they're gonna have like a staff member like when the team was opening, and they kind of added me to have someone like kind of going with that. It's kind of is like Dap's team, and I think we don't really like. I wouldn't say like a coach is like a necessity at the moment. Obviously, eventually it will be, whether it's me or whether that's someone else filling that role, that type of thing. But yeah, I'm more the analyst, and I kind of like fill in. I'm behind the players for the matches. I kind of do what I can, and yeah.
Now, we saw, after Detonate, which in fact, you of course qualified as a coach of, they were unable to make the ER markets of a series of unfortunate events. Does it sort of feel like a karmic rebalance that you ended up being able to come to this event after being fairly done dirty by circumstances last time around?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was pretty heartbroken by that. I'm not gonna lie. That really affected me, like not being able to go last year. So kind of like having the karma sort of reversed and me getting to go to the event last minute because another team dropped out because of some insane circumstances going on was definitely nice. It's also nice to see Boss here and performing well, beating MIBR. So it's nice to see all those guys, like everyone that was supposed to come here last year with, and good to see them performing well, and hopefully we can get back into this event.
Uh, NRG's loss today to Imperial, I think, sort of underscores a larger problem in the squad, and that's the sort of overall performance since it's come together. I think a lot of people knew this would be a work in progress, but it hasn't seemed like things have necessarily clicked yet. As someone who works with the team, almost every day, I'm sure, what do you think is the biggest roadblock to the squad sort of clicking and being able to find results?
It's hard to say. Like 3 months into the team, I wouldn't say we're a new team anymore. There's been so many matches and even before this, like in closed qualifiers like Melbourne, where we have like the upper hand, we kind of have like the match closed out, we have like the match won. There's even like the RMR qualifier versus complexity, like that match where and it seems like I think losing all those matches, we really kind of just choked them, like 10-2 versus PA on Inferno, 12-8 versus PA on Anubis. Just like things like that have been happening a lot where we're losing like bad rounds. I think it's really hurt our confidence coming into this event. It's kind of helped a bit being together in person for the first time. It's always like a nice change of pace. But this is like probably like the first time I would say we got into a match and we kind of just got like slaughtered throughout of it. So yeah.
Now, sort of talking about the team sort of formation and its struggles and all that, I would say you and Valken, who recently joined Carpe Diem, are the really only two notable homegrown North American analysts. Do you think American analysts are sort of disregarded? To start, do you think American analysts are disregarded and disrespected on the worldwide stage? And if so, why do you think that is?
I don't know if I'd say like disrespected. I think it's just tough. As like an analyst, the way you kind of, especially analysts, coach, the way you kind of get into the positions and like the way you meet teams is through like connections. You know, like it's hard to say like this analyst is just like objectively good like you can with a player that's like averaging like a 1.20 or something, right? So if an analyst, it's more like it can really be about like who you know, what opportunities are available, timing, things like that. So honestly, I wouldn't say they're like disrespected or disregarded. I've always, even like when say like I joined Nordivan as like a North American coach with 5 European players, I would say I was like pretty respected. Like being American wasn't really a huge issue. So I think it's more just about who you can actually meet and yeah, just that type of thing. I think it's more about it's more about like the connections you can make within North America.
And hang on real quick. There's a lot of Argentinian excitement in the background as Bestie are currently playing Liquid as we're recording this. If we're looking at the future of this team, regardless if you exit the RMR here tomorrow, has there any been discussions of like when this team needs to click or deadlines before we start considering changes or deadlines before we start considering, strategic rebuilds or anything? What can you sort of tell us about what NRG sort of long-term idea is how to get this team to the next level?
Honestly, it's kind of hard to say in terms of clicking and things like that, especially without an EU boot camp yet. I would still say it's probably like a priority for us and something that we need to do to like really see what the potential of the team actually is, because playing in North America with the practice in this region is just so difficult. I mean, there's times where there's only like 2 other teams to scrim, and that's really tough to get like consistent practice on certain maps. You have to like kind of like bounce from map to map each day. So I think that's like the big thing is getting like an EU boot camp, and then going from there. Pretty much every other NA team here has like gotten one except for Boss. So yeah, I think that's kind of, we still need to do that and then kind of see where the team is at, but I wouldn't say just like a certain timeline where like the team has to click by this point or like Dior is going to do something like that.
Do you think NRG are willing to give you guys a European boot camp? Is this a project they're sort of with for the long term?
Oh yeah, I mean, they're definitely willing to give us a European boot camp. It's something we've talked about and planned about. It's just tough when we didn't make the RMR, so there was no point going in within that time frame, rather like play qualifiers and things like that. So it's more just about like finding a certain time frame that we can do it and actually go for like a decent amount of time. Like it's kind of like, it's not like worthless, but it's not as good as like just go for like a week when you could just be there for like 2 or 3 weeks and like really improve and like really learn and really like understand who you are as a team consistently on each map.
All right, thank you, Mix. That's Mix, the analyst for NRG. We'll be seeing NRG in action tomorrow as they fight survival here at the America's RMR.